This is CRM Audio, the Microsoft Business Applications podcast with your hosts, Business Solutions MVPs Joel Lindstrom, George Dubinsky, and Sean the CRM Hobbit Tabor. This episode is brought to you by Maplytics by Inogic. Maplytics by Inogic is a market-leading certified for Microsoft Dynamics 365 geoanalytical mapping app. Maplytics empowers users with powerful map visualizations and routing capabilities within Dynamics CRM to drive better sales, improve business processes, and engage the right customers at the right time. Maplytics now works with Dynamics 365 version 9 and the Dynamics 365 app for mobile and tablet. Inogic's a leading Microsoft Gold Dynamics CRM ISV delivering best-in-class Dynamics 365 solutions as well as cost-effective and high-quality programming services. We thank Maplytics by Inogic for sponsoring CRM Audio, the Microsoft Business Applications podcast. Welcome to CRM Audio. This is our special end of 2018 episode. We got the whole crew here. We got Sean, we got George, and since every podcast now has to have a token Microsoft person, we have Scott Sewell. We have several things to talk about. I wanted to start with some news about CRM Audio, and that is next week we are off for the holidays, but for those of you who still want to listen to podcasts, what we're going to do is take our top 5 episodes based on number of downloads for the year, and we're going to be reposting them. And for some of them, we may have some extra commentary before them and say, okay, how has this topic changed since then? So that should be an interesting thing to do to catch up. You've missed some of our hundreds of episodes this year. Be a good chance for you to catch some of the top episodes.
I'm just busily engaging bots in China to download my developer minutes.
Great. And
to boost the numbers for the year.
Another piece of news is our little Mark Smith has grown up, and Mark is branching out on his own. His podcasts are awesome, and we're not fighting with him. We're still friends, but he wants to go a little bit different direction. So make sure you check out his site, and we'll put a link to it. And any podcast after January 1st will be hosted on his site.
I don't know about you guys, but I feel used.
Well, every baby bird's got to fly out of the nest sometime. So,
No, they
Right.
don't.
Okay.
Maybe we're like a boy band, and he's gotten too old for us.
Maybe so. Well, we wish him the best of luck and many, many downloads.
Somehow
Scott,
it didn't sound sincere, Hobbit.
Let's talk about some of the news. It seems like things at Microsoft usually used to be dead after Thanksgiving, and they've been giving us a bunch of goodies in the last couple weeks, up to even yesterday. And we have the solution checker, which we had a podcast episode about earlier this week. It's awesome. We have a new preview of the new form designer and also the new view designer.
Let me enjoy the moment for a second and feel superior here in Australia because I can see it and you cannot in US. Is that?
Yeah, so I emailed evidence that I saw this post about the new form experience. I don't have it in my environment. What's wrong? And he said, oh, you need to open up a trial in Japan or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to do with that because I'm used to getting all of these nice toys first.
So okay, so here's the plan, George. You get all the stuff when it's buggy and preview. Then we get it first when it's actually ready to go. So you're the guinea pig.
Okay.
I think he's okay with that.
I'm fine. That's the story of my life.
We talked about the solution checker, and you asked me if I had tried it, George, but I didn't ask you. Have you tried the solution checker, and what's your experience been?
Oh, I did. My solution passes with flying colors, considering that I have 2 entities, no scripts, and just one plugin. Yep, it just zooms through. All
Wow.
green ticks.
Wow. How about you, Sean? Have you run any of your customer solutions through it yet?
We are getting ready to. We have not yet, though, but I have sent it off to my team to run.
Okay.
So when
next episode.
when consultant tells me that, I'm reading into that. Yeah, we did run it. It lit like a Christmas tree. So we're taking time to figure out how we can actually turn it to green.
No, literally haven't run it. If I ran it, I would have told you.
So when he runs it, he's going to make sure all his parts are green,
right?
And the only things are red are the things Scott LaFonte is responsible for.
That is exactly correct. You know how it works. You know how it works.
So, I think with the new form designer, the WYSIWYG model-driven form designer, I think it's a great thing. It's definitely looks a lot better, easier to use. Drag and drop actually works on it. It's great, but I kind of have a little sentimental attachment to the old one. It's been with me so long. It's like part of my family. It feels like something is being removed. It's painful. What do you think?
Why would you say it's painful?
Well, it's just I'm comfortable with it. It's been with me almost my whole CRM career.
Yeah, but change is evergreen, my friend. You have to be able to go with it.
So now that we got the new form experience and the new view experience and the solution experience at PowerApps.com, are we ready to say best practice? Build your solutions and do your configuration of PowerApps.com. Don't go to the settings solution area. What do you find from a performance standpoint, from a performance for a maker? Because what I find is it's prettier and it's better in many ways, but I find when I go to the solutions area or go to the CDS and go to forms, there's more of a lag than if I go to settings and solutions. And if I need to very quickly do something, and maybe it's just what I'm used to kind of thing. If I know what I'm doing, I can do it faster today going to solutions.
I think
Yeah.
my experience is just the opposite, that it's actually faster.
Well, that's because you're in Australia, and you probably have some super new thing in preview that we don't have yet.
No, just all previews are in Australia, so all the code resides in Australia.
The whole country of Australia is a preview.
Of your future, yes.
We had some things we ran on Tip of the Day that I just stumbled across that I didn't see published anywhere, where a lot of the entities that were not working in unified interface, like goals, connections, marketing, the old marketing stuff, that all works, and they didn't really put anything out to say it did. What I found was I said, what happens if I do an advanced find for a goal, and it came up, and it came up in unified interface. So I was, wait a minute, that's one of the entities that doesn't work and isn't in the sitemaps. And I added the sitemap, and it worked. So it was kind of that just kind of snuck in. So a series of tips I had in the last week or so were kind of all these things that were excuses why, I can't use the unified interface, are now basically gone, including you can now get to the settings area from unified interface. If you go to advanced settings in there, it will take you to the settings area, which is still in the classic UI. So you can basically do everything starting from the unified interface now.
But can you process mobile campaign responses on mobile?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Because I think that was what was stopping you in the first place, right?
Yeah, so we had a debate between some MVPs at CRMUG Summit 2016, I believe it was, where I made the point that some users want to see their campaigns and campaign responses on mobile, and I was laughed at for that. But I consider myself
laughing
the
now?
winner. Yeah, who's laughing now? All those people are doing their campaign responses on mobile.
I feel, look, with all the new stuff coming in, because it's coming from kind of all directions, and there's so much of it. Sometimes I feel disoriented a bit. It's like being caught in a crossfire. It's like fire on the left. Oh, look, squirrel, and fire on the right, and it just keeps going on. It's so hard to keep track of things. What I find a bit unhelpful is that the releases of preview goes through blogs, and I kind of don't read blogs lately. Not many anyway. I would prefer to have a page or feed, like new stuff, where I go and say, oh, this is new, and
yeah, like maybe a page of podcasts where there's a new podcast every day that talks about new stuff. That'd be awesome. So, see, George, people do feel overwhelmed, but this is our business opportunity. That's why we're here. So, George, there was some news about event management portals. What was that all about?
Oh, the stuff that I told you guys about, and you I didn't understand the word what George said. No, okay. The news is that the Dynamics 365 for marketing comes with the event management module, so you can set up the events and you organize events and multi-date, multi-track, multi-speaker, what's not. It's actually quite comprehensive module. Well, what every event needs is a website, right? So I think for quite some time they were trying to build it entirely on Dynamics 365 portals. And there were some challenges that the portals couldn't do exactly what they were asking because, for example, payment module is a must-have, and so on and so forth, right? So what they've done, they went ahead and released a version of event portals that based entirely on Angular JavaScript framework. So what it means is that this framework can actually talk back to Dynamics 365 portal, so you can actually do the mix deployment, so you can use Dynamics 365 portals to host your event management site, or you can go completely independent with your own hosting and kind of download the solution, inject into your website, and use this Angular-based framework to talk to Dynamics, and it talks to events and it pulls the information in. You can wire up payment module and so on and so forth. So this is not a entirely new approach. Adoxio have been doing it for quite some time. They called it Portal Companion app that kind of utilizes the same authentication as Dynamics 365 and kind of writes it on and passes the token around. Anyway, not going to bore you with technical details, but using JavaScript to talk directly to Dynamics is not kind of a completely new thing, but being released from Microsoft as a very kind of thoroughly engineered and written Angular piece, written in TypeScript. So I had a brief look. It looks fine. It's very well structured. What I'm actually contemplating is how far Microsoft will go in this direction. So it is possible, for example, pull some foundation of this Angular TypeScript library, and that is event independent, so nothing to do with event management. It can just talk to Dynamics, right? And create a foundation for people to kind of develop and deploy their own portal solutions that are based on this JavaScript framework, right?
So is this driven by the fact that the Dynamics portals, you mentioned like payment gateways and things like that? Is it because there's a limitation with that with the standard portals that we need for people paying for events, or what do you think?
It's one of the limitations. I'm sure there are some other limitations in terms of how you can kind of skin your UI and what you can do, because portals heavily depend on configuration. And if you don't want to follow that configuration model, then you end up writing a very long-winded templates. And on top of that, there are some other dependencies with the authentication. Also, there are some, you're running on a shared code platform, so you kind of stuck with what this platform offers in terms of capabilities. Anyway, and sometimes people don't want to run on that framework. I think one of the things that portals should do looking forward is to kind of separate content management part from the data access part, right? Because currently portals are it's all in one. The content lives in Dynamics, the functionality lives in Dynamics, the data lives in Dynamics. And I think content management part, let's be honest, it's not the strongest point of portals. And for something like event management, content management is and marketing side of things, kind of how your site looks, pizzazz, marketing pizzazz is a big deal, right? SEO is a big deal. Everything is a big deal about the website. So portals are good when you follow the structure offered by portals. But if you want to deviate from that and do something of your own, then sometimes you find portals kind of pull you back into its framework. So I think it's a good move. It's an alternative way to develop things. I just would like to see it being generalized and released as a standalone module, not event management or Dynamics 365 for marketing specific, right?
Yeah, I'm wondering if that is, it's either pretends where we're going with portals, or it's equivalent to the RESCO field service thing, where there's a gap in the current Microsoft solution, so they have to build an alternative path for this until the Microsoft solution catches up.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't know. I don't know the answer. It could be a stopgap, or it could be new direction. It's kind of, I feel that it started as a stopgap. They wanted some functionality that couldn't be delivered by portals, so they went with this framework, with this way to solve the challenge. Whether it will continue to evolve and become platform agnostic, don't know. Really don't know. I have no idea.
We'll see, and we're not doing predictions this year.
Oh, not anymore. Hey,
we'll
look, I was driving the other day, and by accident, it's like the episode came up, like 25 or 26, something like this, from 2016. We were talking about flow. I was magenta red whilst driving. It was so embarrassing. Every single thing we said about flow turned out to be wrong.
I believe that you were the most anti-flow there.
No, I wasn't anti-flow. I wasn't particularly excited by flow. I didn't see it coming. It's like the best way to put it. No, I underestimated the direction. Not underestimated. I misjudged the direction they taken. I thought Microsoft is gonna put Logic Apps as a first-class solution, and Flow is going to be hanging on the side like a small VB6 brother, you know. And then the gap was narrower and narrower, and Flow in capability is basically identical to Logic Apps, and the difference is effectively in the way you run it and how you pay for it.
I would say two things in our defense back then that weren't there then. One is reliability. It is much more reliable now than it was then. Some of the early flows that I built were failing constantly for no real reason, just performance. There were delays. That has definitely improved. The other thing is we didn't have the data access controls that we have now. So it was more of a who's going to use this, because all these citizen developers are going to run amok and use all these services together. Now you really can control that. And so that makes that has made up for the challenges that we saw, and you really can lock it down. If you don't want somebody to do flows, if you want people to just do flows with one specific service, you can do that now. You got the solution. So all that stuff wasn't there then. So I'm not going to say we were wrong then, just Microsoft has improved it to a point where now we like it.
Yeah, but I admit I probably was wrong. I was never expecting Microsoft to invest that heavily into Flow.
Wow. So I got a question for you. You know, I saw Jerry Weinstock did a really cool video about the flick button, and using a flick button to call a flow. And I'm just trying to understand what are some real world use cases for that, because I can see the value in it, but they're like $40 per button, and for one thing that runs one thing, sure, I could have it turn my lights on and off, but I could buy a Echo Dot for that price and tell Alexa to turn my lights off.
Well, I mean, it could be for if you have some kind of function that's very, very repetitive, where you need to generate a lot of data, whether it's acknowledgments, approvals, what have you. I could see something like that being useful. Looking at it like, how with Amazon, how you can buy those buttons, which are essentially the same thing. It's just calling Amazon and ordering something for you.
Right.
Same kind of concept. Very repetitive, same kind of response things. It could be.
But Amazon buttons don't cost $40 a pop.
No, I agree, but I mean, this kind of thing would be more for a company that can afford a $40 a button kind of situation. It wouldn't be for a smaller location that really can't afford that level of automation.
So I'm imagining.
I'm not sure it's there yet to where that would be something.
I'm imagining a guy. Let's call him Jerry. And Jerry has written 50 flows and has 50 flick buttons all sitting on his desk. And it looks like the old school computer terminals with the big colorful buttons that light up and everything. And he goes into turn the lights off and hits the wrong one that sets the security alarm off and calls the police. It'd be awesome. But no, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to invest in a cheap tablet, have the Flow app running kind of as a terminal with the buttons on there, and there I can create as many as I want.
Or use what real developers use, like Raspberry Pi or even MX Chip board. Wrap it in plastic, and it's got 2 buttons for the price of $40. It's got temperature control as well, so you can do Internet of Temperatures. You can do all sorts of things. So it's a nice gimmick, and it's a nice kind of easy to comprehend gimmick to show capabilities of remote communications, but usability, meh. But hey, look, that's what I said about Flow, right?
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I see that. And so one thing, and Scott mentioned already that we haven't really talked about here, but was probably one of the highlights of my year, was we had so many people on the podcast mentioning Ben Vollmer. Every episode, it seems somebody would mention Ben Vollmer. Every time field service or IoT comes up, I'm surprised somebody did say Ben Vollmer. You mentioned Flick Button. Somebody said Ben Vollmer. So I said, one more time somebody mentions him, we're going to get him his own theme song. And so then that happened. I actually commissioned a songwriter to write a very heartfelt song about Ben using some phrases from his LinkedIn profile, actually. And,
play it now.
My favorite line is, I'll play it now.
To have a guy like you build strategies. Oh, Ben, you're the big brain of field service. You're surely at the top in the industry as we know it. And we know it. You rule the Internet of Things. You make lives easy in a blink. We admire your work and the change it brings, especially people, process and technology. Oh, Ben, you're gold. And oh, how we love to talk about you at our podcast. help the world so vast. We learn from you each tape and inspired biological brain, and always looking forward to get better.
But this song has got me more LinkedIn friends than any other post I've ever made. So it's amazing. So if you want to really increase your follower count on LinkedIn, write a song about Ben Vollmer.
So, message to all sponsors. So, if you wonder where your sponsorship money go,
yeah. So if we had now, Scott, if you could fire up Power BI, we need a chart made. So it would be probably 20% for podcast hosting, 10% for podcast tools, maybe 15% for swag at conferences, and then 40% for songs about Ben Vollmer.
money well spent. Yes, indeed.
Thank you, Resco.
Hey, out of all the, Easter eggs, Christmas presents, what's not, are you baking any into your Dynamics deployments for your customers to find out?
Oh, you mean goodies for them to discover?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've put a few things in there. I've named RDL files after people before, and I'm thinking nothing this year that comes to mind.
The only thing this year I've done is colored the different environments red and green for UAT.
Look, I'm following because I'm waiting for Tesla to release right-hand drive car, and whilst waiting for that, which seems like eternity, I follow what they're doing, right? So the new update to Tesla, they call it emission test functionality. But actually, they pre-programmed. You can control on control panel. You can select Tesla starts emitting farting noises, and you can select up to 6 farting noises. And there was a request on Twitter. Someone said, "Hey, look, can you actually expand this functionality so I can do remote control from my phone? So when my wife is driving the car, I can actually start emitting the sounds remotely inside the car." And Elon said, "Yep, sure. Sounds like a great idea." So watch out, Tesla owners. The further expansions are coming. I wonder if we can do something like this.
This is why Elon Musk only works like 100 hours
a week. Look, that's a brilliant use of a flick button, wouldn't it? Make your Tesla to emit a farting noise.
That is so funny.
Anyway, yeah. Oh, Hobbit, what you've been working on? You usually are a front news guy, and you keep quiet and like.
Honestly, I've been doing a lot of work with integrations and working with, oddly enough, with ERP. So I've been getting a lot more knowledge than I've ever cared to know about picking, packing, shipping, sales orders, transfer orders, change orders, all that kind of good stuff. So I haven't been having the fun in customer engagement as of late because I'm connecting it all together. So
you're ready to join Amazon?
It's been interesting work. No, no. No, but it's been interesting. It's helped me want to get a little more information and knowledge about F&O and really get deeper on that integration between field service and F&O, and especially with PSA, there's definitely integrations between it and F&O. So I'm getting a little bit more well-rounded D365 or Dynamics 365 experience. So
you can't get more round, Hobbit.
Well, I can, and wait until the end of the holiday, and then we'll talk about it, and I can get more around.
I've been dropping weight a lot, so
Good
in
for you.
preparation. No, in preparation
Good for you.
for the season.
So how about for the holidays, for just personal technology, what is on your holiday gift list for yourself? What have you asked Santa or your relatives or your wife or friends or whatever for?
I asked for a Surface Book 2.
And why was that on your list?
I have a Surface Pro 3 that I got back at Comic-Con 2014 for playing Settlers of Catan. I actually won it, and it's just it's lived its life, and I need a little something more heavy duty.
How about you, George? Anything on your list?
Oh, look, nothing in particular. I'm getting my phone upgraded, but that's about it. I'm kind of iPhone guy. This phone been with me for 3 years, so I think it's time to upgrade. And
Are you going to an iPhone XS?
17, whatever the size of the small car, yet the biggest one. The eyesight is not what it used to be, so I need like when I read book on my phone, it's kind of 5 words per page. So I need a bigger phone. So that's pretty much it. I've got Surface Book 2, so which been my workhorse for a while now. Quite happy. Except one little thing. I've got kind of number of monitors on my desk, and they're quite old, but they're quite nice. And when I connect to it, the Surface Book via dock, Surface Book, like on a regular basis, like at least once a week, goes into berserk mode when it starts flicking the monitors and flickering and flickering. I had to clean the registry and restart the Surface Book to get it back to normal again. It just wouldn't recognize them. Of course, turns out that my monitors are not supported list on some obscure knowledge base article, but I'm reluctant to upgrade the monitors, and one of the reasons we discussed that when recording videos, if you need a video in a particular format, like 1920 by 1080 seems to be the common one, guess what? I've got the monitor just in this form factor. So another one is in a slightly bigger form factor, and the Surface is 4x3, I think, form factor. So whatever form factor you need, I can record directly without actually, reducing my viewport or capturing the window or stuff like that. I don't need to do anything. Capture full screen, just on a different monitor. So good monitor would be on my shopping list, but I think I'll wait post-Christmas.
I do find Surfaces and Surface Books, the resolution on external monitors gets a little bit weird. Like certain things you have to increase the size. It'll automatically do it for you, but certain applications, Skype for Business is one of them, that the windows just look weird. And
did you just say Microsoft
big
Teams?
Letters. Well, we're going to Teams.
Well, what do you mean going? My tenant was forced into Teams. I can no longer use Skype for Business.
It depends on what plan you're on. And we still have some people running Skype
Australian
for Business on
plan.
premises. Or you probably have some Teams preview. So a couple things, on my list is some true wireless headphones. They are not AirPods because AirPods look like grandma earrings. So I am going to be getting some others. I've put them on my list. I don't know if I'm getting them or not, but that's one thing that I do see the value in the true wireless. So I can't remember the ones I put on there, but they were the ones that were highly ranked on Amazon.
Actually send me a link because I definitely not putting in iPhones, but I've seen few wireless that do look kind of cool. I've got one for running, but they kind of sporty one with the band behind the back, so they you'd look ridiculous if you just walk around with them. But I've seen a few which are kind of inconspicuous and right in your ear and look cool. So I wonder if you found ones that fit well and sound well.
I think they're is it Jabra or
Jabra.
Like
well, Jabra has been making reasonable hardware. So
yeah, and so the other thing I would add that isn't on my list, but something I recently did is I switched to Google Fi for my phone service on the recommendation of David Yak, and now I have a Pixel 2. And with Pixel 2, Google Fi is made for it. And so there's a lot of really cool features it has, like automatically smart, secure connections to public Wi-Fi to save you bandwidth, and no commitment. You can cancel it whenever you want, and it's cheaper than my Verizon plan. But they now support iPhones too. So my wife is still on an iPhone, and it works great with that. The iMessage worked. Now it doesn't have all the features, but one interesting I found is my Pixel would sometimes start lagging on Verizon, but on Google Fi, it flies. And things that don't seem to be related to the cellular data connection, like opening apps and things like that, it just seems more efficient now. I don't know what they're doing, but I've had a really good experience with them. And they have they are the same price in like 22 countries. So if you travel internationally, you don't have to worry about getting hit with a big bill.
Well,
have you guys looked at those Surface headphones?
I heard Scott LaFonte has one on his list. I don't know. I've seen them. Now, one thing that I have to take into account that other people don't is head size, and sometimes over the ear headphones. For example, I have some Behringer headphones that aren't expensive, but they're really good. They're not wireless. But I recently cracked them, I think, because my head is too big.
You think your head's too big for the Surface headphones?
I don't know, but I'm just saying it's like the headphones that are normal size don't always fit me. Like some of the Bose are not comfortable for me because. Again,
because of the price tag.
Need bigger headphones.
Yes. But going back to your Google Fi, I mean, was it hard to?
No.
Was it hard?
No, it wasn't hard at all. Now the Pixel I could change automatically with the SIM card that was in it. For the iPhone, you go sign up and then you say I want to keep my number. They send you via FedEx a SIM card. And you put it in your phone, start the Fi app, confirm your number, and it switches it over. There was literally nothing I had to do. You have to put your, like if you're on Verizon, you have to put your Verizon account number and name in, and it handles the switching over. And if you're still paying your phone off, it doesn't work because you gotta own your phone. But yeah, it was extremely easy, and moving our iPhones over was easy too.
Interesting. I don't think they have it. I don't think it's available in Tampa
or in Australia.
You can. Yeah, I mean, you can go to. I think it's Project Fi or Google Fi. You can search and you can see if it's available in your area.
Well, with the plans we have, I mean, there is no particular reason to go because I kind of lately just avoid any Wi-Fi. Because there is absolutely no reason for me to use Wi-Fi.
Because your data is you have.
I've got like not
data.
Unlimited, but I've got like 60 gigabytes data plan or something like that. So I'd be pressed to blow it, unless I start watching high def day in day out, it's more than enough for work. And when I travel, it's on roaming plan, so it's kind of. Yeah, and it's faster. Usually, it's much faster than Wi-Fi. There you go. On that note, so we haven't said the word dynamics or power platform for about 20 minutes. Is that normal?
It's the end of the year. We're relaxed. We're on holiday.
Exactly.
So, well, I hope you have a good holidays, and
on that
Santa
note,
brings you what you want.
I did have a question to you guys. Before I invest any time into that, I was looking into the Power Apps Admin Center, the new login sites, and was looking at the workflows, like how many failed, and some obscure statistics like throughput. Because I don't run enterprises, I don't see any bottlenecks of what's not. But I was wondering, like, this portal is kind of a bit useless from notification point of view. It gives you a good overall picture, but with time, I hope they add drill down capabilities, because drill down capabilities are a bit limited right now. But I was wondering, like, in production, when you monitor the workflows, the one thing I was thinking about is that it would be nice to, as admin, to get notifications when the workflows fail without needing to go somewhere. And I want to see.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, and that's where Ulrich and I talked about it on Power BI and more this week, and he explained it how it's actually a different database than the CDS currently.
No.
So
I'm not talking about the
login
login sites. I'm talking about just purely CDS, and I'm thinking, well, it shouldn't be too difficult to create a flow that would notify me when a specific workflow that I mark as, let's say, critical, when it fails, it just, boom, sends me a notification. Would it be useful?
Yeah, that would be. And I think I've seen some people do that kind of flow.
Oh, you already seen it. I just don't want to duplicate.
Well, no. I mean, I think it would be, but I mean, I think the thing about the system jobs with async information, there's so much stuff there, and sometimes a single workflow creates multiple records, and so I think you'd really have to narrow it down, or you could really get a notification.
Oh, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So
yeah. Look, you don't want to trigger it on
write that
every
up
status of every workflow, because then you'd be nuts. Because workflow before it starts goes through 2 status reasons, and God forbid if you decide to pause it or cancel it, it would go through 3 status reasons before it gets to that stage. So every time something happens in any workflow, it goes through like 17 stages before it even completes or gets to the error. So really need to narrow it down, not to trigger flows when don't need to. I wish we had a filter when not just when the field changes, but say I could wait, like in a workflow, I could wait for specific value. Would be nice if I could do that, but hey, because then right now I would have to pay for each run. So every time you run workflow, it would cost me like 5 runs in flow. So I need to resolve that before kind of getting anywhere.
So that's what George's first tip of the day is going to be about in 2019.
I'll probably write it this week. Maybe not. I don't know.
Have you guys played much with the Flow push notifications?
I have.
I played with it. I haven't used it. I have one actually that I've used for my personal life. Here's what I don't understand is I've tried. If you wanted to create a flow that gave push notifications to multiple people, when I do the flow notification action, it doesn't say who is this for. It's just whoever I guess owns the flow. So is there a way to target those push notifications?
No. You're pushing it to the person because it pushes it to mobile, right? So it pushes it to the one who initiated.
Right, but if you had a team flow, which basically team flow means the team of owners for the flow, I think that would give that notification to whoever is in that team. Well,
that's a good homework, I suppose.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it does because like I've created flows for, I did an approval flow and I did this for a recent webinar, and it's based on a real world scenario, but I was showing different types of notifications. So I had this flow emailing me, texting me, doing a push notification, 4 or 5 different kinds of notifications. You would never do all those together, but just show the capabilities. And the text I could say send to this number for the person who requested it. Email I could say get the email of the person who requested it. push was just push notification. So that makes me my virtual money here if I was betting, I would put it on that everybody who owns the flow. So in essence, if you did an organization flow, everybody in Dynamics would get notified.
Yeah, that's
Merry Christmas is one good flow that you want to go to everyone. Probably. But didn't you see? Didn't you see my posts on how to get location and date and time, local date and time in your flow?
Yeah. So I'm assuming that's the drunk George Dubinsky. Where am I?
Correct. Yes, and I have a button that actually sends me a notification back saying you are.
I have no idea where I am or what day it is. Please send me notification. If found, please.
Yeah. This guy.
I could use that in
this
college.
kind of flow. Yeah, let's call it college flow. But now, surprisingly, flow button passes a hell of a lot of information. I don't know. It's probably buried somewhere in terms and conditions, but it passes like your location and what's not. You have to kind of enable your flow app on your mobile to allow read location and things like that. So if you don't allow that, you try to push the button, it tells you, no, not going to work. But when it does work, it sends like date, time, location, latitude, longitude, location, I mean physical address. It triangulates by latitude, not triangulates, calculates by latitude, longitude, what's not. So it reads it off your device. So it sends a lot of information through. So you just need to know how to pick it up.
Yeah, so my next book is going to be called "Improve Your Marriage Through Technology," and one of the things I use is I got a button that says "Keep Wife Happy." It sends her a text saying where I am and how far from home
is it a flick button?
So,
see, now that's what you need. You need a flick button on your dashboard.
Well, here's something that I was looking at. I was looking at the MSN weather connection, and there's a lot of detail you could use in there, including things like chance of rain or sun date or time of sunrise in a given area. So you could really use that for some interesting things that you could have it check when is sunrise, and if you wanted something to happen, like something to happen, lights go off at sunset, or you turn on at sunset, or go off at sunrise. You can really get specific with that. That's pretty awesome.
Well, here's a concept for the flick button. If you're a field service, you're field engineer, and you get to a site, you press the flick button, and it checks you in. There you go. There's a practical use for it.
I'm just thinking.
Or you approach the site, knock Hobbit off, take his flick button, and check yourself in. Great.
That's right. There you go. Done.
You could have a prepare for trip flow where you enter where you're going, and it checks what the temperature and the chance of rain are, and texts you back if you need to bring a coat and an umbrella.
Okay.
So
or you can look outside.
You're going to be traveling with a suitcase full of flick buttons with the labels on them.
We solved your marriage problems. We've helped your drunk relatives get home. We've helped you prepare for your trip. This is really a good podcast.
What the best use of the flick button?
You bet.
Yeah. All right. Well, gentlemen, I've got to run, but have a good holidays and
happy holidays all around, guys.
This has been CRM Audio, the Dynamics 365 podcast. Send us your feedback at voice@crm.audio. Check out our other shows at crm.audio or subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, and any place else podcasts are offered. This podcast is a production of Dynamics Podcast, LLC.